Hello everyone to lesson 27 for Education for Nepal English Group. This is our YouTube channel for past lesson recordings. Okay, first icebreaker. Have you guys installed an IDE yet? And if so, which one?
No,
So it's okay if you guys haven't, but if any of you guys have, which one have you guys installed? What's IDE? Like a month ago when we first started teaching computer science, we we taught what an IDE is, and we told you that you should download one so that you can do some programming. Yeah, it's okay if you guys haven't, but it's recommended to get one like Visual Studio Code or IntelliJ so that you guys can like easily code. Yeah, IDEs are free to download. Turbo C++. I have not heard of that one. But yeah, IDEs are free to use, and if you want to do some programming, you should definitely download one. If you don't want to, then it doesn't matter too much. Okay, second one. What is your favorite video game?
Roblox,
Roblox. Okay, valid.
GTA.
Anybody else have a game? Far Cry
Call of
4.
Duty.
Suso, can you repeat that? I didn't quite hear what you said. Let's see, Far Cry 4, GTA, and some more Roblox. Leo, what is your favorite game?
That's a very good question. I really like Call of Duty Mobile,
Oh, yeah, we
PUBG.
all
Oh,
got
this guy said PUBG, bro. That's my biggest op. Oh, Call of Duty. Never mind. Hey, man, that's nice.
yeah.
Have
So
you
today
heard
we'll
of?
be teaching. Yeah, what'd you say?
Do you know Free Fire?
Yeah, I think I do. It's like a ripoff of Fortnite or something like that. I forgot. Uh, okay, so today we'll be teaching computer science and then pop culture and then astronomy. So for computer science, we'll be doing logical conditions and if-else statements. So there are six mathematical logical conditions: less than, less than or equal to, greater than, greater than or equal to, equal, and not equal. So you would often see these inside like an if statement, but these are only like mathematical conditions. Obviously, these can only compare numbers and individual characters. You can't in Java, you cannot compare a string with another string using mathematical logical conditions. You'll get an error if you do so. If you want to compare two strings, like see if two words are equal, you have to use a different function for that. And then yeah, conditions can also be Boolean values or anything that returns a Boolean value. So conditional statements, there are two in Java, and I think there's only two everywhere actually. There's the if else, which is the most commonly used one, and switch statements, which are less commonly used, but occasionally people still use them. So the if statement allows a block of code to be executed if the condition is true. So if you would often put a condition inside the parentheses right there, and if the condition is met, then whatever's inside the brackets will happen or be executed. And then the else if just allows another block of code to be executed if the previous condition was false and the current one is true. So if you have an if and then an else if the if was false and the else if is true, then the code inside the else if will be executed. And then obviously there's like an else statement. The else statement just allows a block of code to be executed if all the above conditions were false. So if you just had like a bunch of if else's and all of them, all the conditions there were not met, then the else statement would automatically happen. Okay, I don't know why there's a condition there. I made a mistake, but okay, it's okay. Usually else statements don't need a condition. And then when using a Boolean variable for the condition, you don't need any logical like conditions such as equal equal. So as an example, you can see if I have a variable is true, I don't need to say if is true equal equal to true. I can just directly say like I can directly just type the variable in there and then it'll automatically return a value because it's already a Boolean variable. So the switch statement is just another way to write if-else statements. It's sort of cleaner, I guess. That's why people might use them. So if I have a variable as a character that's like equal to A, the letter A, I can use a switch statement, and then you put the condition inside parentheses again. And then instead of if else's, we have something called cases. And so we have case A, case B, case C here. So depending on what my variable was, like since my variable is A, it'll print out one. But if my variable was C, then the switch statement will print out three because now it's falling under the C case. And yeah, after every case, you want a break statement, or else you might get like an error or some like output that you don't want. And then instead of an else, switch statements has a default statement, which basically it has the same function as an else statement. It's just that if all the cases above were not met, then something default would happen. So if I set my variable to let's say D, right, then I don't have a case D. So the switch statement would automatically print out four because all the above conditions uh were not met. Okay, so now on to questions. So I have two kind of if else statements here. So we'll start off with the first one. And you just have to tell me, you can say it out loud or type in the chat if you want. What is printed after this if else statement is executed?
First one phrase is easily ELSE or switch statement.
Oh no, for the first one, I'm asking what is printed. So like if you were to press run on if you were to run this code, like the first one, the one under number one, what is printed? Like what word is printed? Does anybody know what word is printed? I mean, there's only two possibilities here.
Give your answer.
How about this? Uh, if you guys can like raise your hands on Zoom, I guess. Who thinks the answer is false? Like, who thinks the word false will be printed out? Nobody? Okay. Then who thinks true will be printed out? Or you can type in the chat what you think will be printed out, false or true.
Number 2 is false. Is number 2 is false.
Uh, are you talking about number one, the one like the picture under number one?
Number 1 is true.
Do you think number one is true?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I
So here's where you actually got tricked. So the answer to number one is actually false because you can see that there's a exclamation mark there next to is true, which means if not is true. So basically it's saying if is true is false, then we'll print out wait, shoot. Oh,
there
I
is every
misworded the question. Never mind. Never mind. You're correct. Oh God, I damn. Okay, I meant to type wool is true equals false. But yeah, you're correct. Okay. How about number two? Does anyone know the answer to number two then? Yeah. Yeah, but for number one, I made a mistake. I was supposed to type wool is true. I mean, equals false and not true. Okay. Okay, for number two, basically the picture on the right. Does anybody know what's going to be printed here? Do you think equal will be printed, A will be printed, or B will be printed? Okay, we have Vishal entering B. And yeah, that's correct because they're not equal. So we'll go to the else statement and then it checks if A is bigger than B, which A is not bigger than B. So therefore B will be printed out. Okay, that's it for computer science. And we'll be moving on to pop culture now.
Alright, so for pop culture, we're gonna be talking about video games and like some important points on like the history of gaming. So yeah, so it all started from roughly 1950 to 1960, where like some computer scientists developed like some very simple games on mini computers. And then from 1970s to 1980s, we started to see like arcade games being made, which included like well, a couple famous ones were Pong and Pac-Man. And then like the first home consoles was also made, as you can see below it. So yeah. And then from the 1980s to the 1990s is also referred as to like the golden era of video games. We saw the rise of Nintendo Entertainment, which is still around today, and they made some pretty cool games like Super Mario World and Sonic the Hedgehog, which are also very famous. And then basically what made this era so good was because of its large focus on like 3D graphics as well as its development of like memorable characters such as like Mario and Sonic and whatever. And then it also gave to like a rise to personal computers so people could yeah, game on their own computers.
So I'm going to talk about a specific company that's made a lot of games that have become like really famous and well known and well played. So Riot Games was a company that was founded in 2006, and as you can probably see from the title, it's still like currently going, and these are games that are like currently still being played. And their goal or their like mission was to develop, publish, and support the most play focused games in the world. So they made their debut in 2009 with the game League of Legends, and it soon became the most played PC game in the world. And it plays a key role in the growth of interest in the game of esports. And then soon after that, they published the game or created the game Valorant in 2014. And Valorant is a team based first person tactical hero shooter game. And it's mainly set in the future world. And you can see as in photo in the right, these are like images of these games. And then the other games that they've also created that kind of go hand in hand, mainly with League of Legends, are Teamfight Tactics, Legends of the Ruiner, and League of Legends Wild Rift.
Okay, and then like sort of modern now from 2010 to present, we saw like the expansion of mobile gaming, which included stuff like iPads, smartphones, and we saw famous games like Pokemon Go, Subway Surfers, etc. And then obviously there's also the PlayStation 5, which was like recently released. And since, yeah, video games has turned into a multi-billion-dollar industry. So yeah, it has been very successful.
And I think that's it for pop culture, and then here's our final section, which is astronomy.
Right, and we're going to be talking about galaxies. So a galaxy is basically a collection of gas, dust, and billions of stars and solar systems, and they're all held together by gravity. The galaxy which our solar system currently resides in is called the Milky Way. Supermassive black holes are a common feature at the center of most galaxies. And our Milky Way has at the center the supermassive black hole Sagittarius A star. All right, for the types of galaxies, there's three main types, which are spirals, ellipticals, and irregulars. Spirals appear as a flat rotating disk, and they're the one on the far right. Elliptical galaxies appear to have an ellipsoidal shape, but are nearly featureless, and they're in the middle. While irregular galaxies don't really have a shape, they're in the bottom left, and I think they vary from galaxy to galaxy. Our Milky Way is our home galaxy. It's a spiral galaxy. It's about 100,000 light years across. And if you didn't know, 1 light year is about, I think, 14 trillion kilometers. And it's estimated to contain about 100 to 400 billion stars. And then the Andromeda galaxy, it's the galaxy which is closest to the Milky Way. It's also a spiral galaxy, much larger, about 200,000 light years across. And it's estimated to have about 1 trillion stars in it.
All right, so that's it for this week. Thank you all for coming. And if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat or ask them out loud. And we would appreciate it if you can fill out this feedback form. And thank you all for coming.